What if I told you that the education system that you have been raised in, the one that dictates how you think, how you live, or even how you see the world, wasn't built to empower you but to control you? For a century, you have been led to believe that the schools were created to help us grow and discover our full potential. But what if I told you that it was designed for something far much darker? For control, for conformity, for obedience. Imagine a system carefully crafted not to nurture creativity or independent thought, but to prepare you for a world that demands you fall in line. That system, the one that we call the modern education system. In the next few minutes, we are diving deep into the intentional design behind the schooling system, revealing how it shaped the way we think, the way we act, and even our futures. This isn't just about what you learned, it's about why you learned it and who designed it. The truth is, the very framework of our education wasn't built for freedom, it was built to manufacture minds ready for a very specific world. And today, we are asking, what is the cost? What are we really being trained for? And is there still time for me to break free? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will see the system in a way that you have never had before. Prussia was a German state that formed the German Empire back in 1871. Frederick William I was the one who laid the foundation for the modern education system. So during the Napoleonic Wars, he needed soldiers, and for this reason, Prussia became the first nation to enact compulsory primary education. This system was designed intentionally as a state strategy to create obedient, disciplined, compliant soldiers to avoid the state from losing the war again. This would forge a population that doesn't question orders or rebel against the system at all. It was not education for liberation, but for control. These schools featured bells that would structure the day and enforce discipline, standardized tests, and maintain centralized control over what was taught, not only to train students on routine and obedience, not innovation, restricted playtime and uniformity, etc. So fast forward, Horasman, an American education reformer, played a major role in promoting and pushing the public education system to what we know it today. So determined and inspired by the Prussian model, he argued that the universal public education was the best way to provide quality education for all the American children, and thus schools started emerging. So Horasman work laid a foundation for John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller was a billionaire in the oil industry. When he got old and turned to philanthropy in the early 20th century, he funded towards industrial capitalism. So he funded the GEB, that is the General Education Board, a tool used to shape the American education. This strategic move was for workforce preparation, since his empire needed disciplined, punctual, and obedient workers. And then, to make the matters even worse, the GEB's vision was not to create philosophers or entrepreneurs, but efficient and manageable labor for the factory. You see where we are headed now. So, in summary, Prussia Empire introduced the system for their soldiers. Horasman planted the seed for public education. Then, Rockefeller watered the seed with money, which he funded to the General Education Board, the one that institutionalized the schooling design that we have today. Not for liberation from the impoverished way of living, but the efficient labor, obedience, and economic productivity of business owners, governments, and even billionaires' interests. The government saw the GEB as a valuable tool for enforcement, discipline, social conformity, and workforce readiness through education. It aligned perfectly with its intentions and goals. So fast forward, we can see that the governments worldwide have full control of our education system, using the system as a puppet to control nearly every aspect of a child's life, just teaching what they want the child to know. For instance, back in the Soviet Union regime, It used the education as a vehicle for its propaganda, with teachers being instructed to prepare their course to conduct anti-religious education at all times to comport with the state sanctions on the religion. For your information, it's not any different today. I bet you have ever asked yourself, where do I use the calculus that I used to learn back in school? That is the doing of the system, technically speaking. They sold us a script since our childhood. Go to school, get some good grades, get a good job, pay your bills, pay your taxes. They identified our desire for a better life and weaponized that against us. And they simply provided the education system in disguised as a solution. Silently erasing free will, independent thought, creativity, and overriding fear, obedience without questioning authority and compliance. Every year producing mindless employees to work for the system, for the rich. If you find yourself thinking that your papers will make you successful one day, think again, because the system was rigged decades ago and you don't know it yet. You are perfectly seated in the system, exactly where they want you to be. If you think that by far that is fucked up already, not until you hear this. So after setting up you for a work slave for the rest of your life, decades ago, the 16th Amendment was passed, allowing the Congress to levy on any income tax. That is it, on whatever you earned as an employee. To trap you even further, the education itself became a paid endeavor, whereby, fast forward today, to actually get a degree, you need a hell a dozen of cash, bro. Which the government comes in again and then tells you that we can give you help, further trapping you in the years to come. So as a matter of fact, this system is failing. It is technically failing. And as we have pointed out earlier, the purpose of the system is to turn you into an employee. It is constantly pumping graduates to a jobless world. The numbers of graduates compared to that of the jobs that are available, the opportunities available, are actually going to different directions. Additionally, the problem that our parents sent us to school for, with the hope that one day we will solve, it's not working. It's a dream long gone in a jobless economy. Yet people still cling to the papers with hope that jumping from one job to another will solve their issue, all while scrambling to survive and pay off their monthly bills. What the heck? That's why, after a long search with no fruits, graduates ends up burning their papers and turning to business and even content creation on TikTok, just trying to find ways to live by, These are the skills that we should have spent our childhood learning in the first place, not the garbage back in school. So schools are good, especially for those who are not that literate. At least it helps to enlighten a bit, technically speaking. This is what you need to understand so that your children will not go through the system to be indoctrinated to be job market slave. Honestly, I will stop at nothing until I achieve that goal for mine. I want to give you an alternative on this case. Look for creative education solutions like YouTube, online courses, books, acquire some hands-on skills, and such kind of a thing. Learn things that schools didn't teach. For instance, business, investment, finances, taxes, Bible, etc. These are the ones that will actually solve your problems. Treat education system like a knockoff tool, not a financial freedom plan, because it will never work. Forget about it. With that being said, I hope this video opened your eyes and gave you a deeper understanding of the hidden truths behind our modern education system. If you learned something from this video, just go ahead and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss on videos that we shall be making in the future, because we're just getting started. If you got any thoughts, questions, or any experience you want to share, drop them in the comment section below so that we can have a little conversation. See you at the top. Adios.